We are live. Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 46 of the Security Podcast. It's a brand new week. We have some security news, but you know what? For once, it's been fairly quiet. Fairly quiet. Not much.
Say that too loud.
I know. I want to be a little quiet. So we have Tom there. He got back his mic, so the audio should be a little bit better. And I guess we want to just revisit some of the payment methodologies that we're going to see in the near future, and maybe we should look at these online payment methods. So we'll start with that and see where that takes us.
Yeah, and there are a host of different options, tons and tons of different options.
Well, for the non-tech person, the biggest change, I guess, is July 2015, all credit cards need chip and PIN.
Yeah. So instead of just your card having a swipe to it, it's actually going to have a little, and I wish I had one around, but I don't. You get a little, looks like a piece of gold, like a little gold rounded square on the front of your card. And that's actually an embedded chipset. It's a tiny little storage device. Really cool stuff.
I actually, what's it called? One of my credit cards just expired, and I got it. It was funny. Two of my Amex cards expired. One came with it, and one came without it. So I have a feeling I'm going to get it again. Which, when expiration of credit cards is always a big pain because now I have to update it on all the sites.
Yep.
The CVC number, but you know what? It's like a forced password change. If it was out, now it's being changed. The Stripe is probably dead. But yes, I got one. And for people who don't know, yeah, it's that thing. So you're gonna have to swipe the credit card, enter a PIN, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you've ever been to London or you've ever been to Europe, it's the waiter or the waitress comes out with this little machine. It's the credit card swiper. They swipe in and they say, "Please put your PIN in." For New Jerseyans who don't have to pump their own gas, that means we're still going to have to get out of the car and now put our PIN into the machine.
Right. And it's actually, the reason we haven't seen this in the States until it's really the Target breach that spurred this on. It was always coming, but the Target credit card leak really pushed this move date forward. Is credit card companies and businesses in general thought, but if they've got to put in a PIN every time they swipe their card, they're going to think about their purchases and they're not going to buy more stuff. It's not going to be as easy, so people are going to start thinking about the money they're spending. That's not exactly the way it works. People are still going to use credit cards, and they're still going to use them the same way they used them before. It's just instead of, swipe and walk away, or swipe, sign, and walk away, throw your card into the machine, put in a PIN, and then you walk away. And it's honestly a lot more secure. It's the reason why in these big credit card leaks and hacks, it's mostly American cards because they're really insecure.
I've heard that argument. People are going to think that they have to spend more, but we see that with debit cards. If you use debit, you have to put a PIN in. Mm-hmm. You have to put something in. There's some sort of other thing. Now, for us, like I said, we get our gas pumped in the cold. You have to get out and do something. I can see a lot of, I'm too busy, just put this 1111 in. Or you're going to get people who forget their PIN. And I don't know what happens then if you forget your PIN.
I think you just call your issuing bank or credit card company and say, "Hey, I forgot my PIN." It's like if you lose a card, right?
Well, so you have
to go through some verification information, and then they'll send you a new one or let you reset it.
Well, I'm thinking about you're at the restaurant. You're at the restaurant. It's midnight. You're paying for drinks or whatever. It's a long night drinking. You're finally done. You call your cab, and now you have to cash out, and you're like, "Oh, I forgot my PIN."
Yeah, in that case, it works like if your credit card gets declined. You got to pay some way. Hopefully you've got a checkbook handy or some cash.
Yeah.
But your PIN is going to work like any other important number in your life. You're going to have to remember it, and like any other important number in your life, it should be complex. If it's a password, if it's an access barrier of any kind, it really needs to be, more than 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
that's a given.
Do we say it's going to be 4 digits, or do they limit it?
I don't know what they're going to do, and I'm trying to look for any information on the rollout. I believe they're going to do 4-digit. Now, there's no hard limit on that. I don't believe. If there is, correct me. But it's been 4-digit everywhere else. In every other implementation. I'd like to see that increased. Even if you're gonna make people angry, just say it's optional to increase it. And for me, I can have an 8-digit PIN, and for someone else who doesn't care and doesn't understand security, they can have a 4-digit PIN.
Well, like you said, the idea of at least 4 is the right answer.
Right. Because you need to hit, and it's hard. It's really hard coming from a security perspective. The convenience versus security, and they're always battling each other. But, you really need to make the lowest common denominator easier for everyone.
Look, I see it now being, since starting the podcast, I've been trying to talk about being more secure, and I've just been seeing all these issues with, hold on, now my phone's ringing, and everything's ringing, and I don't know why, but I've been seeing all these people asking me questions. They said, I heard that, and whatever it is, this website got hacked. Is there anything I can do? And people are starting to focus more and more on security, and I want to nurture that. And so when we say you should do this and you should do that, you should have 2-factor, you should do this, and I think, if we do this, we're going to have a huge technical support nightmare on our hands. So this chip and pin, this forcing of down people's throats, which is really what it is, I have a feeling we're gonna have to figure this out. And I think by saying, you know what, it's just 4 digits. When you swipe, it's just like your debit card. You put in 4 digits, and for the people who want to read more on it, it'll end up being. You can put 5, you can put 6, you can put 7. The only problem is I don't want it to be a Post-it note in the back of someone's phone.
Right. That's where it gets complicated because that happens all the time. I mean, I saw it just this weekend. Someone had passwords.doc sitting on their desktop, and I had to give them the lecture of, hey, look, this is really dangerous. You can't just let it sit there. There's bank passwords and stuff in there and credit card numbers. And once they understood, they switched to using a password manager, which they were very happy with. But if you write in Sharpie on the back of your credit card your 4-digit PIN, you aren't helping anyone, especially not yourself. The idea of this, or one of the ideas, because there's more benefits than just this. But let's say you lose your card today. In some systems, you have to know the zip code. Well, that's not too hard. Where did you lose the card? Where did you find the card? Did you pick it up in zip code 12345? Well, try that first. If it doesn't work, try a couple surrounding zip codes. And there are places out there, sites that'll let you try this over and over again. But this means that just picking up a random card off the street isn't going to automatically net you access to their bank account or to their line of credit. They're going to have to go through a little bit more effort. Please don't make it easy. Please don't make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 1, 1, 1, 1. Actually put some thought into it.
And if you can put 10 digits in, don't put like Tom said, identifiable information like your phone number or the 7 digits of your phone number or the 10 digits of your phone number or the last 4 digits of the credit card on the back there. So if you forget it. I mean, if it's on the card or if it's something that's meaningful to you, somebody's going to figure it out. Now, it'll stop the internet hackers. I mean, it will, because now they have to do this each time. I wonder what Amazon's going to do. They have their one-click patent.
Right. Businesses always have, and they always will, work around these new payment methods. It's just a matter of time. And, to be fair, so will the crooks, so will the criminals. I mean, chip and pin, while a definite increase in security, and it's definitely a good thing, it ups the ante just a little bit. It doesn't solve anything permanently, but it makes it a little harder to commit credit card fraud. That said, it'll still happen. Don't get me wrong. This isn't going to eliminate credit card fraud or numbers being leaked online, but it makes it a little bit harder to do.
I can see Amazon putting a next field, what's your PIN, and they'll put it in for you. And I can probably see a lot of other websites doing that, and hopefully someone, I don't want to say regulate, that's a bad word, but maybe somebody will say you can't do it, or there'll be some sort of challenge. But everyone
it might be built into new compliance. So for PCI compliance, it might say, hey, look, you can't store PINs, just like you can't store clear text credit card numbers, or so we thought. Yeah. I mean, Home Depot just went through this, and that's a huge story. Home Depot just lost an insane amount of credit card numbers, personal information, all this stuff. Pretty ridiculous, actually. It looks like it's like the Target breach. This thing is huge.
And so of course, I shopped at Home Depot, so now I'm going to get another.
I got lucky.
Now, do you get 2 years? So if you shop at Target and Home Depot, do you get double belt and suspenders credit monitoring, or do you get can you piggyback them so you go 2 years? I mean,
yeah, this is going to be very interesting because they're still gathering details. News is still coming out, and we'll see. It looks like on first impression, it looks like more malware on point-of-sale systems. So when you swiped your cards and the numbers went into the computer's memory, before they were even transmitted, they were snatched out of RAM, and then they were sent off to another website somewhere. Pretty cool technology. I mean, pretty horrible, right? But the way they were implementing it, pretty interesting. That said, keep it on the news, watch your bank statements, just generally be aware, because this stuff, it's only going to get worse. So until we get more safeguards in.
But the more safeguards, the more inconvenient it is, and friction is bad. I mean,
especially when it comes to payment systems.
Yeah. And so, speaking of friction in payment systems, Apple, if you heard yesterday, released what everyone in the Android world called Google Wallet. I mean, that's what do they call it? Apple Pay. Everything now instead of the I or the E has the Apple symbol, which there is coincidentally an ASCII code for. I just don't know what it is. And so now you're gonna have to put that if you want to be a hipster. So
technically correct.
We don't know much about it. We know that it's not baked into the operating system. It's going to be some sort of downloadables app or something like that. It's going to put your credit cards in their secure area of the phone, and when you go to a store, you're going to be able to use NFC or some sort of whatever they want to. I'm almost positive it's NFC to swipe.
I'm pretty sure it's NFC.
So but to authenticate you have to. What I like is use the touch ID with your thumb or your finger or whatever it is.
Right.
And
yeah, we don't know anything about the security of it, unfortunately. And just like with Google Wallet, if you're buying a new iPhone, if you're buying the Apple Watch, don't immediately jump on this and then put all of your life's information into this app. It's just like with anything else. The security is not proven until it's been out for a while. I mean, Google Wallet famously, it was less than a year. It was a decent, what was it, 6 months, more than 6 months, less than a year. On rooted phones, it turns out you could actually brute force the Google Wallet PIN until they made a change to it. So there could be security holes found next year or even further in the future. That's why when there's a security app, when there's anything you put payment information into, don't just jump on it without thinking. Actually put some thought behind it. Say, is this really secure? Do I really want to put, my debit card into this thing, or maybe just a low-limit credit card that I know has good protections behind it?
It's, I mean, most people are going to use it at the grocery store. They're going to use it at the drugstore. They're going to use it. You're not using it at the gas station. You're not using it online. You're using it in your daily life. You're not using it at the restaurant. So you know what? Load up some money on it. That's the one thing they didn't talk about. You can't load up some money, which is something I kind of wanted. Like Google Wallet allows you to load up cash on their Google Wallet, MasterCard, whatever it is, which I have in my wallet, and then from there you can spend that, which like we talked about the second identity episode a few weeks ago, and what Tom just said, low income. It's just a second barrier that somebody has to get. So they can find out your information, or they can get this credit card, but there's a low limit. If they want your real stuff, they have to work for it. So here's the thing. What I heard yesterday sounded really cool. It sounded good. They hit all the right points. They said you have to authenticate yourself before you use it using your Touch ID. They're putting it in the secure element, which is very famous for what Google Wallet's been banned for, because they don't meet Verizon's secure element. Not that it's not secure, but they don't meet Verizon and the carrier's definition of secure. And that the other thing they said is that it will use one-time credit card numbers. And so every time you get something, basically the merchant doesn't have your information. The merchant gets Apple charge, Apple charge, Apple charge. You get the merchant's information, but the merchant information can't get you.
Right, and this is huge. I wish everyone did this. I wish my current card did this. That instead of saying, "Hey, I'm card ending in 1234," it just says, "Hey, I'm a card," and it that way, if you look at the Target breach, if you look at Home Depot, if you look at any time you swipe a credit card and the numbers get grabbed, instead of giving forth the credit card number, you just give forth a random number, but it maps to the credit card company, which maps to you, and it's only one time, and then it expires. It goes away into the ether. That would be fantastic. This is going to be a great thing for security.
And to do that, and PayPal famously had that. Now this is going back 5 or 6 years ago. You could make one time. Yeah, but they got rid of it, and presumably because the credit card companies didn't want to do it. Here you have Apple trying to be more secure, which right now Apple is not in any position to talk about security. But they're saying we're trying to be more secure, so the credit card companies, you want this frictionless payment, people are going to want it, you better do it. So hopefully Apple can leverage its power, and then Google Wallet and all the others can take advantage of it. And I don't know why they haven't done it. They want to be more secure. A credit card breach affects them too. They have to pay out all these liabilities. I don't know why they can't say, we're going to offer this if you want to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why PayPal did away with it. I'm not sure why the credit card companies haven't just done this. I mean, you have to assume that a large part of their business is metrics, is saying, hey, here's a pile of anonymized data with these people spending these things, and merchants won't like it if they can't, track things by the last four of a credit card. But it makes it so much more secure, because if you just use a number, a one-time number, and expire it, it will be great. I'd like to see, even just normal credit card numbers go away. I'd like to see them turn into big alphanumeric strings of, this is a transaction ID, and that's the only thing it does. You can't actually use a credit card number. It's just a randomized string. And it's one time, it expires after each time, and each credit card is just a good random number generator with the seed behind it. That would be really great. But there's issues with that too.
Again, it's a security versus convenience type thing. If people had to remember how to make their own one time, or they had to do it, there'll be latency, there'll be more declines.
Right.
Now we're relying more on the technology. We won't be able to go back to the old carbon paper swipe. So there's a lot of issues, and unfortunately, people want to be, people figured out how to use a credit card. And when I was using Google Wallet to pay for things, people were saying, but wait, you had to pull out your phone. You had to log in. Isn't it just easier to open your wallet and swipe?
Yeah.
And you're right, it was.
I think that's what's going to kill all of these. Now, you combine it with a watch that you would authenticate to and then tap your watch on it. I could see how that would be more convenient, but I agree, because I've tried using Google Wallet. I've used it a couple of times. It's not, a lot, but the reason I stopped using it is, doing this, fishing my phone out of my pocket and putting in my PIN for my phone, then waiting for the phone. Okay, now I gotta swipe over, get to the app. Oh, look, Google Wallet's asking for a PIN. Let's put that in. Let's swipe and look for the card I want. Okay, yeah, use that. And then I tap the phone on the thing to pay. Is so much trouble compared to, hold on, swipe, done.
Yeah. And then people stare at you. So not only that, now you have the cashier who doesn't know what's going on, and you tell them credit card, and they're just too enamored by what you're doing. So then they don't do it, and then they don't have to ring it up again, but they have to do it again. And if it fails, it makes you look like an idiot. So,
and then there's a queue forming behind you, and everyone's mad at you, just saying, "Come on, techno nerd, just pull out a credit card like the rest of us."
And if it works, then you have to explain it.
Yeah.
Like, so then if it works, you have to explain. But again, this payment system, this has been around in the Asian countries for years, that you can pay with your phone.
It's been around forever. Absolutely forever.
So, and I have a feeling the Google Wallet security, other than that one brute force attack, has been pretty much secure. It's not Touch ID where you put your thumb on it, but, I mean, we'll find another way. We'll find another way to do it, or you put your PIN in it. It's not that hard. But we got to find something.
It's really nice, and I would like to see, and I really think the good thing that's going to come out of Apple's new payment system is we're going to see the ultimate level of convenience that's not horribly insecure, or at least I hope that's what's going to come out of this. We're at the very least, we're going to see how Apple makes this thing convenient and makes people want to use it, right? Because Apple's always been about convenience. They've always been about the ease of getting things done. And so far, Google Wallet, while a nice system, and while I enjoyed using it the times that I did, is simply not as convenient as swiping a credit card.
Even Amex had their blue credit card with the NFC little thing in it, and that was really convenient, and people were still looking at what you were doing, but you still had to pull it out and everything else. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope to see more. I am intrigued. I really do hope that it does work and people start moving forward with it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and we'll see what happens here in the future. But looking forward to it.
So, and we have a few minutes left. I wanted to just revisit a couple of the other payment systems. I recently had an issue where I just rented an apartment, and one of the tenants couldn't pay me cash right now. And instead of going to the bank, he said, well, is there any other way? Can I pay you tomorrow? And I said, well, no, I need the money today. He goes, do you accept credit card? So, but why, yes, I do accept credit card. I'm going to have to charge you the fee because I need the money. Like, that's fine, whatever. Now, what I could have told him is, hey, why don't you download Square or Square Cash or Google Wallet or PayPal, and we can do it that way. And then I thought about it. For something like this to work, more people have to know about it, and more people have to feel comfortable about it. We talked about it back in episode 2 on how we like Square Cash, and it does work, and it works well, but it's still not mainstream yet, and unfortunately, I don't know what it's going to take, and I do want more people to have it, but...
I think what it's going to take is, and people say it, and, frankly, we've got good pieces of it. It's going to take a natively digital currency. And yeah, we've taken cash and put it in banks, and the majority of cash is just numbers in a bank database somewhere. And we all use, cards with magnetic stripes on them and chips on them to make these payments. But really, I think if we move to something entirely digital, if we move to something like Bitcoin, it would facilitate those types of transactions. It would have been trivial if they would have said, okay, they just plug in the rent numbers, hit send, type in a PIN, and it's gone. And then you have it, within a couple minutes, if that. I mean, depending on how long the blockchain takes, it'll be there in max an hour. You'll have a confirmation. But I don't know, just trying to shoehorn the old greenback into a digital system seems a little hackish to me.
Well, look, for me it works. For me, I've played with it. I know how it works. But you're at the bar, you're at dinner, you're at a restaurant, and you're trying to get people to jump on board with you. That's really difficult. And I think we've been trying this for. I remember since the iPhone came out, people have been trying to do this. Send money via SMS, send money via email with Gmail. We've been trying to do it, and what it takes is someone with tech savvy to sit and play with it ahead of time, and not feel weird because there's all this, there's no security, there's too much security, whatever level, and unfortunately, it works. It does work. It's great. I love it. It works well, but you have to get someone to do it, and the only time you're going to convince someone to do it is when you're either sitting around with them doing nothing, like you're I mean, and that rarely happens, or they figure it out by themselves. You're not going to get it done at the bar or at a restaurant or wherever else.
Right. Yeah, it'll take some time. We'll see where it goes.
I mean, we go from there. I just want to say we had a comment on one of the episodes, and I think it's just some follow up before we leave. We had Austin say 2 quick topics, and I think these are just topics. At my work, we have an online timekeeping system where I punch in and out. They just updated the site to be more movie friendly. But the security question page now is so large you can read the answer from across the room. It drives me crazy. Topic 1. Question 2, do you feel we should still use TrueCrypt? The main point of TrueCrypt was its ease of use and cross-platformness. Is there any is there another like it that you would recommend?
So for the first one, being able to read security questions across the room, that's a bad thing. The one thing I can recommend to kind of work around that, if no one will change their system, the obvious thing is, change your system or so it's not, huge text everywhere, or turn the text field into a password field so the people just see the dots or the asterisks.
Well, no, I think what he's saying is he doesn't have the ability to do that. So I don't know if he's asking a question, but instead I would use the leet language and just replace some characters, spell things wrong.
Right.
Okay, so
or you could even come up with your own random string as your answer, something that's going to be hard for other people to remember, but somehow you can remember it. If you can come up with that, to make it so someone can't glance up there and be like, oh, the answer is Fluffy the dog. If they see some giant random garbled string, that's hard for other people to glance at and remember, like, what? And then it flashes off the screen and it's gone. That'll help you.
Make it. This is not really 2-factor, but make it 2-factor. Put some obnoxious 8 or 9 character string, and on your phone, so you don't remember it, but you have to open your phone to test it out. Whatever it is. Or simply change all the O's to zeros and the A's to 4s, because people who are reading it across the room will read the word. They're not going to look at the nuance.
Right.
I mean, that's my best guess.
An email about security always helps to the people in charge. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's gotten me places before, so it's not wasted effort. Be nice about it, though. Be nice about it, because us tech people, when we build stuff and it gets destroyed or broken or someone says it's bad, we can get our feelings hurt pretty easily, because that stuff's kind of our baby. And then for number 2, I'm still using TrueCrypt personally. I still recommend people use version 7.1a. You can find it on grc.com. If you go up to, if you go up to Other on its menu, there's a link called TrueCrypt Repository. Steve Gibson of Security Now and Gibson Research Corporation has got TrueCrypt links to all the executables, installers, source code, all that stuff. Great, fantastic job, Steve. That's rad. I still recommend and use TrueCrypt on a daily basis. So I think it's safe. There is a fork, but again, new security software, untested, therefore unreliable. Don't move to this yet, but it's a thing to keep an eye on. It's called CipherShed. You can find it at ciphershed.org. If you want to go play with it, go ahead and do so. It's a fork of TrueCrypt, so they've taken the code and they're still trying to work on it. But don't count on it to be secure right now. We're auditing, not we, but people are auditing TrueCrypt, not CipherShed. So it's one to keep an eye on, but don't necessarily move to it right away.
So
for now, stick with TrueCrypt. If you want other utilities, it doesn't really work like TrueCrypt, but if you've got like a file, like a zip file you're trying to encrypt, take a look at GPG. It works just about everywhere. It's a little wonky to get used to. I don't like the interface at all. If you do some reading, you can figure out how to use it, but it is proven robust security. I use GPG for lots of different things, but TrueCrypt is kind of my go-to for encrypted drives.
So, well, there you have it. I mean, our short show turned into 30 minutes, so that's always a good thing.
We always pull it off somehow.
Yeah, look, 30 minutes. If you give the two of us time to talk, we will. So hopefully you found something of meaning in this, and I guess we will see everyone next week. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.